Hey Drifters, it's Existence Games, I'm Jake.
And I'm Lexi, and today we're playing two new competitive Converging Chasms decks. I'm on the left playing Shroom Doom
versus my Paladins, Parables, and Paragons.
Shroom Doom uses a dire strategy to whittle down my own life points in order to use powerful effects that surprise my opponent.
And as the name suggests, my deck strategy focuses on amassing an army of sword-wielding angels to overwhelm my opponent with a few tricks of its own. Okay, I won rock, paper, scissors, so I am going first. We draw our starting hands, we start with 10 life points each, and the game begins. I'm going to start by dropping a pile of 3 on the field and pass the turn. I definitely don't want to lead with Roxanne or Paladin's Parable, even if I have them in hand.
I'm assuming my opponent didn't draw any creatures this turn, which is pretty great for me since I didn't draw any either. My deck is going to want to play creatures out as soon as I get them, but since I got a handful of symmetries this turn, I just play the energy down and pass my turn.
Wow, that was actually super nice she didn't play any creatures. I'm going to play another pile of 3 energy, and I have a bunch of symmetries and secret rare creatures in hand, so sometimes you just gotta sit back, see what the opponent does. End my turn.
Alright, I finally got a creature, and it's Mistry Driftwood, my main attacker. Okay, let's pause for a sec and take a look at this beast of a creature's ability from set 4 Converging Chasms. So while this creature is attacked, you may have the attack pass through and hit your life points directly instead. When this creature attacks, you may have it hit your opponent's life points directly. If it does, destroy this creature and all energy attached after the attack hits. I actually use both parts of this ability with this deck. Early game, it's good to let the attack pass through so that the creature can stay on the field longer, and I get to use card effects that require lower life points. The other half of this ability is what makes this creature my finisher. It lets me attack directly regardless of whatever my opponent has on their field. It does have the downside though that this creature will immediately be destroyed after the attack hits. My deck can handle it though because I have backup cards like Tethered to Eventide and Amethyst Voidcap, as you'll soon see. So I'm going to put it down on a pile of 3, and then I'm going to use a Beacon of Worlds and 2 Departures to move my entire other energy pile onto Mistry Driftwood and make it a massive 6 energy creature to attack.
What in the world does she do? Another one? Okay, essentially 3 Beacon of Worlds. She must have a way to protect this thing. I'm going to attempt to double leech her Mistry Driftwood because otherwise she's going to take out more than half of my life points in a single attack.
I'm still going to attack directly for 4, and because he has no creatures on the field, I don't have to use Mistry's ability, so it can attack like normal.
And just like that, I'm down to 6 life points. I'm starting my 3rd draw, or the 5th overall turn, and I apologize you can't see it, but I do play another pile of 3 energy on my field back there. So while removal cards would be really nice right about now, I'm not running a ton of it since I have Roxanne, which is a board wipe, if I can get her strong enough. I'm also playing cards like Nebula Barrier and Nebula Geyser Meadow that put creatures into play at surprising times. Either way, it's about to get swingy. I'm going to summon Ephemera, the Star Shield, which I wish I had at the start, but she's going to go ahead and attack into that Mistry Driftwood.
I decided to let the attack pass through and hit me directly because, believe it or not, I want to be at lower life points with this deck. Back to my turn. I draw and I get 2 new Mushfolk creatures this turn. I also still have Mistry Driftwood on the field with 4 energy. If I were to attack directly with this, I would only need 2 more damage to win the game. Looking at my creature options, it does matter which of my Mushfolk has more energy on it, so I'm going to put Amethyst Voidcap on the 1 and Cankerous Needlespire on 2. Alright, I attack with Voidcap first, knocking his Ephemera down by 1, putting my creature in the grave so that I can trigger its ability later. Next I go in with Cankerous Needlespire, and because I have less life points, its ability triggers, destroying both of our creatures and sending all energy back to our hands. The reason I attacked with Voidcap first was so that he would get 1 less energy from Needlespire's effect. Plus, I get an extra energy since I played the Needlespire on the larger pile. Then I attack with Mistry Driftwood for 4 directly like normal, and end my turn.
Back to my turn, I'm down to only 2, and I have got to get my Paladins up and running before it's too late. And I'm going to play 2 piles of 3 and another pile of 1, which you can't see, but since I had all that extra energy from her Needlespire, and I'm going to try to conserve some resources to launch a counterattack if need be. Since Mistry Driftwood is her only creature, I know she can choose whether or not to let the attack pass through, so I'm going to summon Dawn-Dust Paladin and Portal Step Paragon, my common angels. I do have more than enough energy in play to win this turn if I can get through, so first I'll attack with Portal Step Paragon, and my opponent takes a moment to decide if she's going to let the attack pass through or not. And she does, so it is now 2-2. Now I know my opponent can't afford to take another hit, so I will attack with my last creature currently in play, Dawn-Dust Paladin, declare for 3 points.
I can't afford to lose Mistry Driftwood since I need it later to finish the game, so I respond with Secluded Shortcut, pay a life point and drop myself down to 1 to draw an energy. Then I throw down Tethered to Eventide, which lets me destroy a creature and all energy attached if I have 1 life point left.
She actually managed to tether my creature, but that's fine because I'm going to play Nebula Geyser Meadow to resurrect my Dawn Dust Paladin onto a waiting pile of 3 and attack. As expected, she doesn't have any more tricks up her sleeve and has to take the hit with the Mistrai. Little does she know, I'm not even done. I play another Nebula Geyser Meadow to res Dawn Dust Paladin and attack again. This finishes off her Tree Folk and -1 energy from my Paladin. Although these creatures are done attacking for the turn, I activate Nebula Barrier to put into play Roxanne, the final Paladin, on the pile of 1 and attack directly.
I'm not out of tricks yet. I activate Amethyst Voidcap's ability from the graveyard to resurrect it on the field with 1 energy on it.
Oh my goodness, I forgot she had Voidcap in the graveyard. Alright, so Roxanne's gonna hit every creature in play for 1. That's gonna -1 energy from each of my creatures and destroy Roxanne herself, unfortunately. I'm gonna end my turn there. On the bright side, I did clear her field and she's only 1 life point, so let's see what she can do.
Woo! This deck plays it risky, but the rewards are great. I held his attacks off just enough to keep myself from losing, and now the path is clear for me to finish the game. I start by playing all the remaining energy in my hand, and then throw down a leech to take out that 1 energy creature on his field, add another energy to my field, and then I'll put out Mistrai Driftwood and Cankerous Needlespire for good measure. Needlespire will attack his Paragon, and that'll trigger its ability, so both creatures immediately get sent to the graveyard, all energy is sent back to our hands, and then I'll declare attack with Mistrai Driftwood, finishing the game!
Wow, those shrooms spelled doom for me, but that was a fun game. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see these decks in other matchups and other CC decks we're playing this season, like, subscribe, and leave us a comment in the comment section down below.
Play on, Drifters!
Existence Games!